Welcome to the UST Education recorded webinar series. This session is powered by US Transactions. UST is a boutique payment processing firm providing you with personalized service. We offer agnostic, best fit technology solutions for associations, nonprofits, and enterprise clients.
Awesome. I'm seeing a head nod. Okay. Well, welcome everyone. We're really looking forward to today's session. As Erica mentioned, this is a presentation we've actually done before, and we're excited to do it again and share with you some of this knowledge around associations and maybe you can resonate with this, working harder, but seeing less engagement from your members. So it's something that we hear often from our clients and associations that we work with, that challenge that you're doing more and almost seeing less. We're going to help you solve that, or at least dig in a little bit. Cheri, you want to kick us off with a little story?
Yes. So, and I was reading everybody's comments too. New ideas, increasing engagement, better engagement. Thank you, Kim, for the shout out about the logo. We love that logo too. But yes, I want to open with a little story. We call this the dartboard story. So I grew up in a tiny town in the Midwest, and I'm talking you know, two bars, five churches, one post office kind of place. Some of you might be able to resonate with that. But my dad, when I was a kid, owned one of those competing bars in town. And when my brothers and sister and I were in grade school, we would get off school and walk up to the bar and sit in the booths to do our homework after school. So my dad was getting ready for the evening. We would sit and get our homework done. And if we got our homework done before our mom got off work to pick us up, my dad let us throw darts. So here's what I know about playing darts in a bar is that every time your dart hits the bullseye, you get the most points the fastest. So as this relates as an analogy to your primary audience, whenever you are speaking directly to your primary audience, you get the most engagement the fastest. So identifying that person, putting them in the center of your messaging, you get the most engagement the fastest, you make the most money the fastest, you get the most membership the fastest. Here's what else I know about playing darts in a bar is that if your dart lands on one of those outer rings outside the bullseye, you still get points, depending on what game you're playing or how many points you need. So if you're focused in on that primary audience, you will still resonate with others that land outside of that primary audience definition. They will still want to engage with you. You can still take their money. It's not to the exclusion. Speaking to your primary audience is not to the exclusion of other members or others in your industry that resonate with your messaging. The reason we tell that story is because the main point of it is that when you're playing darts, if your dart lands on the wall that the dartboard is hanging on, you don't ever get any points, ever. And in this analogy, if you are speaking and trying to be all things to all people and trying to change your message to accommodate everybody, every one of your members, you lose their attention. Your message is too diluted. Nobody can actually resonate or self-identify with who you are or what you offer. So we're going to spend some time today really honing in and talking about your primary audience and why that's important.
Awesome. Well, without getting too far into our presentation here, we want to share a little bit more about who we are. So I'm Emily Youngblood, Client Services Director here at Mercury Creative Group. I, along with the rest of the team, work really closely with our clients, much of which are association leaders, to help make sure that they can create aligned, useful, and connected content, brand work. We do all kinds of fun things with associations. One of them is helping them connect this value and engagement.
And I'm Cheri Quinn. I'm the Director of Brand Strategy at Mercury. And my work centers on helping organizations clarify the foundational elements of their brand. So who they serve, what they who they serve, what that audience needs the most from them, and how to communicate that value in a way that feels relevant and meaningful. Today, like I said, we'll focus on that primary audience and understanding what your audience needs so that your association can make its value easy to recognize.
So we mentioned this kind of in the opening, but associations are working harder and members are engaging less. It's something we hear very often when we work with clients. Most associations aren't struggling because they lack offerings. I see, is it Tana? I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce your name, but I don't want to. I want to increase engagement without creating 14 new programs and sending 37 more emails that nobody reads. Spot on. I think that is a very common and perfect way to put that. When you add more activity without clarity around who is at the center of your bullseye, what your programs are for, how to create value around those programs, then your team is working harder, but your members are still feeling disconnected. So this is where the work can feel frustrating. Your team may be doing all the right things on paper, and if the value isn't visible to your members, then the moment that they need it or their participation and attention, engagement, and attraction to that offering will just drop. So we want to mesh those two things together. Who is that ideal member that you're looking to attract to engage more? What's the value of what you're offering, and how do we get them to resonate with that information so that they do participate in all the things that you're creating and curating and putting out there for them?
That's great.
So this little graphic just kind of reiterates that point around, doing more programming, more emails, more events, more resources, and yet there's less participation, less attention, less engagement, less interaction. And often the issue is not that you're creating the wrong things, it's that you're not weaving together the value of that offering, and that members aren't able to recognize what the value is. This is why that dartboard story matters so much and why we talk about it a lot and putting that messaging right at the center. That's why we ask who else do we need to ask about this? How else can we reach them? What do they need from us? What does our member look for? Oftentimes, we also hear in this conversation that members are just doing nothing. They're maybe overwhelmed. And so doing nothing is kind of where they land because they're not sure what to do. With a recent client, we really helped them figure out is what you're offering even feasible? Is this too much for any one member to participate in? And if that's the case, maybe scaling back on programming might be an option. And so that's kind of the conversation we have around that.
Perfect. So this statement too, this just compounds everything that we've been saying and the message in the chat. Content is everywhere, but clarity is rare. I know that to compound things, your members are surrounded by communications all day long, as all of us are. I have an 8-year-old at home, and he will look at my phone sometimes and say, "Why do you have 6,000 email messages?" And I try to convince him that I'm super popular and lots of people want to. He doesn't believe that, but I too batch delete things because I can't possibly give my attention to all of those things. I really need something to resonate with me within the subject line, within that preview message. So just getting more emails from someone certainly doesn't help us. It doesn't help your members either. So we really, the goal really is not to communicate more. The goal is to help your members quickly recognize this is for me, this matters to me, and this association understands what I need.
Oop. Oops.
You can,
Sorry.
yeah, you can populate those in. So at Mercury, we believe strategy should come before tactics. Obviously, as the brand strategist as well, strategy is in my title and in my heart and mind a lot. But before that next email, that renewal push, that event promotion, even your next AI prompt, You need to know who the message is for and what need it connects to. So, not just who it's for, but really what need do you fill for that person? The tactics are still important. The tactics bring your strategy to life, they're how your strategy shows up. But without that strategy first, tactics can become just disconnected activity. And like we said, this is the throwing the dart at the wall the dartboard's hanging on. So, with the strategy, your emails, your events, your website content, your onboarding messaging, all of those efforts start to work together. All right, so these are the questions you're wanting to answer, and this really helps give your team, both you and your team, a filter. It helps you decide. I read something, actually, I think it was a podcast recently. I'm not going to be able to remember which one, but it was about if you replace the word strategy with decision or with deciding, that's what strategy is for. Strategy is about making a decision. Who are we trying to reach? What do they need? Why does this matter to them? When you have those decisions made, it provides clarity and it provides that filter for what you do next, what you prioritize, and how you explain why your value matters. All right. I put this in here really plainly. So who is your primary audience? Who's in the center of your dartboard? It's not everyone. It's not even all your members or everyone in our industry. That is, it's too big, it's too broad. So, just reiterating that dartboard story again, you're wanting to really hone in on who you serve best. That will make the most impact and resonate with those people. And it will also help you to tune your dial. So, everyone that's in those outer rings, all of the other audiences that resonate with pieces and parts of your message and want to take advantage of your offerings and the outcomes related to those, can self-identify that you're for them. So this does not mean, by the way, because if I could do this, the question we get most often is, oh, but Emily and Cheri, I serve so many different kinds of members. You couldn't possibly narrow it in to one person in the center. And really, we're encouraging you to focus in on your primary audience and the primary value that you offer in order to distill your message and help clarify it. We know that it doesn't mean that you stop serving multiple groups. Of course you do. And we'll talk about that a little bit later as well. So associations almost always serve many audiences, but if every message tries to serve everyone equally, it becomes harder for anybody to see themselves clearly in that message. Okay.
Did I cut out or did you cut out? Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I didn't hear the last thing you said, Emily. If you want to switch, that's okay.
Oh, I think I froze for a minute, but I think I'm back. Am I back?
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. I think we're ready for the next slide then. Sorry, did catch the end of what you were saying, so
Okay.
I think we're good. Okay.
Cool.
So we're going to keep talking about this primary audience and focusing on your ideal member. Your primary audience is the group that's most important to your association's growth, engagement, and impact. So for today, we want you to focus on the member that sees your relevance, engages with your work, aligns with your mission, and contributes to your community, and also helps strengthen the association. We want the member to be somebody who you can think about, and we're going to have a little question here and exercise here in a minute. They participate, they refer others, big fan, right? They may volunteer, they advocate, they sponsor. These are the members that usually have something in common beyond their job title or membership category. This is what we want to understand. So, who in the top of your mind comes to mind as an ideal member? And we're going to have a little exercise here in the next slide. So, who is one member that you wish you could duplicate? I want to pause here and have you think about this. Think about the person that you could, if you had 20 of them, you would be elated. You put a first name in the chat, but then we want you to think about this person And think about what keep in mind that you don't do business with companies, so keep that in mind first. We want it to be a person. And think about them as a human being. The one that makes the decision influences the decision to join your association. Awesome. Travis. Yes. Melissa. Danielle. Melissa. Oh, we got a lot of Melissas.
Heather.
Ed. Mark.
Oh, yes, this is exactly right. So I love that you heard what Emily said about your instinct might be, especially if you're a trade association, your instinct might be, oh, we do business with this business. This business is our best member. But instead you do business with a person. There is a person that's making the decision to be a member of yours. There's a person that's engaging the most. Who is that person? I think just honing in and picturing them in your mind, it also becomes easier to write messaging for them. It becomes easier to know how you serve them best. So I love this. You guys all got this concept right away. So Rodney, Cody, Larissa, Ed, perfect.
All right, now we want you to answer, why are they valuable to your association? So maybe they bring people together, maybe they renew early, they volunteer. Um, this helps us get a clearer picture.
Yeah, tell us why they're your favorite. Why are they valuable to you? Mhm.
Great cheerleader, ambassador,
Yeah,
natural actor.
their commitment, they give their commitment and their time, gets others involved. That's great.
Yep,
A natural connector. I can instantly think of those people in my life too.
yep.
Chapter
Actively
president,
recruits.
yeah, actively recruits.
Time management. Yes. Isn't that great when people are really good at that?
I love this one. She believes if you are on a board, you are there to serve. You serve on a board. It's in the name.
Love it.
That's great.
All right.
All right. So you have your favorite member. You also have an idea of why they are your favorite member, what they do for you. Now we're going to talk about, what did they need? What do you do for them? Okay. So your primary audience need, this is the next important shift in this conversation. Now that you know the members you value most, think about why they value you. Okay. What do they really need? Not just what you offer. So a lot of times as associations, you have lots to offer. There are lots of offerings. There are lots of events. There are lots of newsletters. There's advocacy. There's promotion that you do for your members and for your industry. There's lots of things that you offer for them to participate in. But what problem, pressure, or aspiration are they trying to solve for? Okay. Members do not always engage just because an offering exists. You all know that. You told us that in the beginning. We don't want to send more emails or do more activity or offer more events. That's just flooding their system with offerings. They engage when they understand how that offering helps them solve a problem. Okay. It might also be how it helps reduce pressure or gain confidence or grow professionally or feel connected within their industry. Okay. So a lot of times we'll talk about offerings versus outcomes. Think less about what you offer to them and more about what the outcome is for your members. Emily and I will often say we'll go into a brand project or a marketing project with our clients, and association teams will inevitably tell us when we say, what is the value? What's on your value proposition? And they will inevitably say, well, we offer networking, education, and advocacy. Every single time. We want you to dig deeper than that. What is actually the outcome of those offerings?
Mhm.
All right, so we have some examples of this. So you naturally talk about these things. I'm stealing my own thunder.
Yeah, you're jumping ahead.
Jumping ahead. So networking, education, advocacy, resources, committees, these things definitely matter, but they become more compelling when they are connected to a need your audience already feels. Gosh, I love this. I love the chat that's going.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yep.
so let's continue this in the chat. If we switch to the next slide.
Yeah, so this person that you have in mind, that you named, in the chat, let's answer this question. How does the organization that you have or the offerings that you have improve this person's life, career, or business? Trying to go beyond a list of benefits, let's think about what change your association has or an impact that you have. Does that, Cheri mentioned it a few minutes ago, do they have more confidence? Are they more connected? Are they better informed? Are they feeling maybe less alone, or is there maybe something from a professional level that you offer them? So you can take a minute in the chat. How do you as an organization improve that person's life, career, or business?
That's great.
Yep.
I like the one about respecting how limited their time is. That's truly interesting to think about your favorite members and how you'd like to duplicate them. It goes beyond just why they're your member and what their work life involves. If they're your favorite member, what does their entire life involve? And how do you add value to their entire life?
Mhm.
I think that's an important thing to think about.
One of the organizations we work with actually does a ton of advocacy. And one of the things have talked about with them and their ideal member is that we make them better at their jobs. By doing the advocacy work ahead of them or for them as an association, we're helping that person in their career show up at their leadership team meetings or bring information, educated information back to their company that they couldn't do that alone, right? They need the association to do that, to provide the advocacy work, and then to offer that value back to them. So
I
that's just another idea.
I love this. Understand where they are in their journey first. That is brilliant. We're working with a with an association. It's a financial association. They offer lots of education for certification within their industry. And they were getting frustrated for a while. We've been working with them for more than a year. And their education department was getting frustrated that they were putting out all of this education information. People really need this because they need this for their certifications, but really without connecting that journey for their members. And when we took a look at what does that journey mean, and how can you help string this together and give them a plan and a path to reach that outcome, that really started to tune the dial on their messaging to speak about the outcome and their journey rather than just here's the next education date that's available. It started to, like I said, to turn that ship around. That's great. Tailoring a solution for that member.
Yep. All right. One more question, fill in the blank. Cheri, you want to take this one?
Yes. So this one can be a powerful way to get to the heart of value. So, what do you guarantee by by choosing to be a member of your association? This person, the Melissa, the Ed that you listed before, is guaranteed what? So in the chat, fill in that blank for us. The answer might be peace of mind. It might be a trusted community. It might be access, confidence. What is the outcome that they're guaranteed? Oh, hope. I like the word hope.
Oh, love that. Yeah.
Community. Yeah. Isn't that, I'm a, I apparently am a podcast listener. I'm going to mention this again. I was listening this morning about how there's almost this epidemic of loneliness in our world right now,
Hmm.
even though we're more connected than ever, but more lonely than ever.
Mm-hmm.
of community, bringing that forward is powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great, valuable connections.
Welcome and trusted professional community, valuable professional resources. We cannot guarantee they will love every networking event, but we can guarantee they will not have to navigate the legal community alone. Love that.
Mhm. That's cool.
Okay, so why is engagement dropping? Why engagement drops when members cannot connect your offering to their need. So the event sounds useful, but maybe it doesn't feel urgent, or the email is informative but not personal enough. Those benefits exist, but maybe they don't understand what they are. And the value is real but not visible. So this isn't always an offering problem. Often it's a clarity problem. The association or your association may be continuing to create value, but members need help seeing how it connects to their life, work, goals, careers, and pressures. Cheri kind of mentioned this a few minutes ago with the financial group, helping a member understand how their professional journey can and their promotion and their credits can be really accomplished in one space fairly easily by utilizing their membership benefits was something that we needed to tune the dial on instead of just saying, here's another course, here's another credit, helping them understand this is how you get certified and this is your professional journey. Even those two words, right? Professional journey sits differently than saying, here's another CE credit, take advantage of this. We would love to see you there, right? That those words and defining them and getting a little bit more clear on how to connect them is when the words that you put out and the offerings you put out really resonate with your members.
Emily brought up something else. One of the things that we heard and when we started the project with this leadership team was that they called lots of things a member benefit. It
Mhm.
was it was almost this like corporate jargon word within
Mhm.
their team, to the point where we finally asked, we said, okay, what does member benefit mean? Because it seems like everything's a member benefit. It seems like everything's special, so then nothing's special. Even
Mhm.
the term used across their team was getting in their way. And so we took a step back with them to help them really clarify what is truly a member benefit across your organization. What do they get for dues versus what do they pay for in addition to dues, that non-dues?
Get access to, yeah.
What do they get access to as part of that? And how do you communicate that more clearly rather than saying everything, all of our offerings are member benefits? It was a really interesting exercise and it got them to clarify for their own team and to be consistent when talking about what a member benefit was. So again, keep in mind that if everything's special, nothing is. Keep that in mind.
So we're going to show you a little bit of an example here and how to translate your offerings into relevance. So instead of saying we offer networking, try instead we build trusted relationships with people who understand your work. The other example here is we offer advocacy. Try know someone is watching the issue that could affect your future. That's similar, not exactly, but when I was talking about the association that does tons of advocacy work and really informs their members so that they can do their job and be better at their job and help protect their future is a different way of saying we offer advocacy. That's how you connect the offering to the need.
Right. So we'll have you try this. So translate one offering. So just think about this for a second. Choose one thing that your association offers, and then ask yourself, who is it for? What do they need? What pressure does it relieve? What confidence does it create? And then what action should they take? What action should they take for them? Not for you. For you, that action might be register for the event and pay. But what action should they take for them? Okay. So don't stop at what the offering is. Ask deeper questions about what need it fulfills.
I'll give you a minute to think about this.
Mhm.
Then we'll jump to the next one. Hopefully you got a piece of paper in front of you or young members community so you don't have to navigate the early stages of your career alone. Nice.
Let's pop the next slide
Yeah.
up too. It's just a quick reminder. So in the chat, let's fill this out. Our offering is our audience needs. So the value is what? And that was great, Tiffany. We offer a young member community so you don't have to navigate the early stages of your career alone.
If you've got one ready, pop it into the chat so we can see it. Oh, I love that. Real-time messaging for crisis management. I would take that a step further. So what does the audience, how does that affect your member? What does that do for them? Career advancement, value connecting with others through a core and building skills.
Oh, love
Yep.
that. Building
Yep.
skills. The value is building skills. Yeah, I think sometimes the value of networking can seem really evident, but even taking it one step further, what is the value of connecting? What is the value of networking? The value is building skills. Mhm.
Is the entire urology, okay.
Yeah,
Value is the highest standard of, yeah. Yep.
it's in the industry. Keeping them competent. The value is keeping them competent. That's a powerful word.
I would say, Josh, for yours in the urology profession, I would get a little more specific on who that in the profession, who is it? The doctors? Is it the care team? Is it somebody else? And then how do you provide that higher standard of training and care?
Ah, I like that. The value is fewer June CLE panic attacks.
I missed that one.
Everyone can know that, oh my gosh, I have to get my CE done
Yeah.
tomorrow and I need 20 hours. Like, that's fantastic.
Oh yeah, there it is. Yep.
Our audience needs shared problem solving and ideation. Yeah. That word shared is the word that jumps out to me in that one.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful.
Awesome. All right.
So the engagement filter. So to put this all together before your next email, your event promotion, your renewal campaign, these are those questions that we had on a slide earlier. Who is this for? What do they need? Why does this matter? Even more than that, why does this matter now? And what value are we providing? So not just the offering, what is the outcome? Think of that in that way. This is more about strategy. And again, remember, replace that word strategy with deciding. I'm deciding who is this for? What do they need? Why does this matter to them? What value are we providing? Communicating those things rather than just the offering is important.
Hmm.
Great.
Okay, so some of our key takeaways from today. Members is too broad to be your messaging strategy. Your primary audience gives your engagement efforts a center. Members' needs are at the bridge between the offerings and the relevance. Engagement improves when value is easy to recognize. And strategy first helps every tactic work harder. So, one of the things that I want to point out on these kind of key takeaways is, identifying that member as your center. And I mentioned it with Josh's, but getting really specific about who that is really helps everything else. So I know we touched on it a little bit, but we want to make sure you're really clear that that member in the center of your bullseye should have a title. We want you to explore that a little bit further. We have some resources on our website if you're looking for it, but explore that a little bit further. Take it a step with your team or with your board chair or somebody. Explore what that member is, who that person is, and give them some characteristics so that you have more information than just Sam or John. Most of it you know. We find when we work with clients, they know these things about their members. They know, especially their ideal member, the people that names came to mind really quickly. You know a lot about them. Put it down on paper and identify who it is.
What's
So,
interesting, I just want to tack on to that and go a little deeper. We talk about that exercise when we do this with teams, especially, is who's your favorite. And if
mhm,
we're sitting in a room, your favorite will jump to mind immediately. Other members of your team or other members of your board, if you do this with your board even, will have different people.
mhm,
So if I say my favorite member is Tanya and Emily's favorite member is Carl, then we will take those aspects, we will list out everything we know about that member. We will say, oh, Tanya, what do I know about Tanya? Well, she's great at engagement and she volunteers for everything. She comes to every event. She knows everyone in the room. She's been a long time member. She works in this exact position within her industry or her own organization. But I also know that she's a mom and she has two kids and they have a new puppy at home. So there's other things that I know about her life that I've gotten to know her. I'm in relationship with her. I know that she forages for mushrooms and she enjoys that in her life. I know she's a big music buff. So if I know all of those things about her, I know that her priorities in life shift, and it's not just all about what she does at her job and how she participates in my association.
mhm.
Emily, in talking about her favorite, will also do that deep dive. And what happens with that, we often did it as a whiteboard conversation, and we would write the favorite members out and then list all the things we knew about them. And then we do what I call Frankensteining. Frankensteining is, what are the common pieces of those favorite members where we can start to form one favorite member, an avatar or a profile for who your favorite member is based on the aspects of everyone's favorite on the team. They won't all be identical people, but they will all have specific aspects that make them your favorites. And then when you do the needs question and you talk about what do they need, those start to become common themes as well. And that's how you drill into who goes into the center of your dartboard.
I'll give one more example, because I know we have a few minutes, but we have one more thing to share with you before we take some questions. But one of the things we were working on just recently with a client and you all are kind of in this space right now, right? Fall dues, fall member letter, fall renewals are coming, right? Whether you do that in the fall or not, you understand the concept, right? We're working on a letter from the executive director and a budgeting email and things like that that we're creating. We're looking at what they provided to their members last year and how we can increase that member letter, for example, to resonate more with that ideal member that we put in place. And one of just the small twists and tuning of the dial on the language is talking less so about your organization and what you offer, and more about how that offering helps your member. So, uh, Cheri always says, uh, I like to talk about me. You know how wait, what's the phrase, Cheri? I'm going to butcher it.
I always say, I know that
You,
nobody thinks about you more than you think about you. And the reason I know that is because I think about me more than anyone else thinks about me.
yeah,
We all do that.
right.
And that's true. But if we can take a second and just think about the other, think about your favorite member and what they might need rather than what my association needs.
Right. So that letter that we're crafting is switching the language so that the member feels seen. and they feel like they can resonate with that messaging. So, enough talking about that. Let's jump to the next.
Yeah, so there's one
Slide.
more thing we want to share. We would be remiss not to talk about AI. I know you thought, oh my gosh, am I actually going to get through a whole webinar and no one's going to mention AI? Well, no,
We
that's
just
not.
saved it for the end.
We just saved it for the end, exactly. And the reason we did is because even if you're using AI as your partner in creating content and communications, they are not, AI is not doing the thinking. You do the thinking, you set the strategy, you make the decisions, let AI do the work. So, strategy first, AI second. AI can obviously help you create faster and it helps you create what matters. So you want to be able to give deeper prompts. And when you go through an exercise like the favorite member exercise, you are able then to give your AI tool the information that avatar, that profile that really matters to you. You are able to tell AI, I need to write communications and messaging for this person in the center who needs this thing, and I need to talk about what their outcome will be from this offering I provide. So it's only as useful as that strategic direction that you give it. So before using AI, you define these things. And remember, in this presentation, define and strategy, definition, deciding, and strategy are used kind of interchangeably. Who is your primary audience? What do they need? What pressure, aspiration, or barrier are they experiencing? Not only in their job, but maybe in their life. If they're experiencing a time crunch or a seasonality that's affecting them, um, pay attention to those things. What value do you want to make visible? And what action do you want them to take? So we have an example here for you. So instead of asking, write an email promoting our annual conference. If you write an email promoting your annual conference, your email will sound like every other industry partner that you have. It will sound exactly like their email. But if you try something like write a member-centered email promoting our annual conference to early career professionals in our association, this audience needs practical guidance, confidence, and opportunities to build relationships with people who understand their work. Emphasize that the conference will help them learn what is changing in the field, meet peers and mentors, and leave with ideas they can use right away. The goal is to encourage registration without sounding overly promotional. So add that tone into it, into your prompt as well. Okay.
We love our long AI prompts.
Yes, we do. I might set some records. If there was an award for the longest AI prompt, it might be me. But
Awesome.
I like that too, Alicia. I like the specification of the audience's needs. Yes,
Yep.
if you specify the audience's need, again, you'll be talking to what the outcome is rather than just date, time, location, for example. Good.
All right, we have a minute or two, I think, Erica, is that correct? Where we can answer some questions. If anybody has one, they can drop it in the chat.
Absolutely. Yep.
And I can jump back if there's a slide we want to pull up.
I'm also just going to type, Emily, our email addresses into the chat. If you
Yep.
think of something later, please reach out. We can help direct to resources as well.
Yeah, any questions popped up? Anything that was you want us to go over again or need help answering? Otherwise, I mean, there's obviously a whole group of people on here too that might have an answer. So if you want to toss the question into the chat.
And I think I know I'm probably going to steal Erica's thunder on this. Oh, what measurements best show whether
So,
these are improving members' careers and professional lives? Oh, what measures?
oh, good question.
Understanding that well.
So yeah, so I think she's asking if the association's goal in the end is to improve that member's career and professional life. How do they know they're doing that? For the example that we used, certifications, passing exams, adding things to their resume is one of the goals of the membership, right? So they have access to that certification. So the measurement for them is really who's passing what exams and how are they moving people through that kind of journey. Also, one of the things that we do a lot is insights gathering, and we talk to members and past members and ask them about value and their why they're a member and things like that. That's a pretty specific project for us. It's not a general member survey. We're not asking members general questions. We're calculated and strategic about it. So if you have more questions, we can talk to you a little bit more about the insights gathering process. But for our associations that we work with, it's typically that kind of moving them through that funnel of getting their CE credits or their accreditations done.
Mhm. Yeah, we talk a lot with our clients about metrics that matter. There's lots of things you can measure. So for that, something so specific, something that shows improving members' careers or their professional lives, you would dive into that industry. I would want to know more about your industry that you serve and what really does matter to those members, what helps them evolve in their careers, what does their professional life look like, or those next steps, and that will help you drill into what to measure. So just measuring engagement, to your point, doesn't get you there. It doesn't
Right.
help you really show that you're improving
Mhm.
the careers and professional lives of those members. But there is probably something, I'm imagining, not knowing your industry, something specific to the industry that helps you show that and back into it. So remember metrics that matter, not just metrics for the sake of, oh, I can measure clicks and likes, for example. But does that matter to your members or to your organization?
Mhm.
Yeah, great. I love that. I would also love to hear from anybody else. What do you measure? How do you know that you're affecting your members' lives? Drop it in there too. You're all doing this work every day.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the other, the other example we gave with the advocacy, I think for that group, they don't have a huge member database. Their membership is actually relatively small, so they have gotten to know their members pretty well. And what I pay in dues and what I'm getting from the organization is sort of a no-brainer because that that value is really equatable for them. So they're working with them just because of the advocacy and they feel like that's just a win. So really getting that, I mean, I would call that a pulse check, but also spending time with your members, whether it be at an event or over a virtual coffee or whatever that looks like. And your board of directors is full of members. So sometimes we remind associations of that. Your board of directors are typically always members and they're always in the industry and not working in your association. They're great. They should be great advocates and great people to ask questions of. So.